Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May our homage to our teacher Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Today I'm going to share you a sutta teaching. We were studying about a few things about why we can't focus to the meditation objects more easily. There we learned about few reasons. Buddha say it's because of the indulgence in speech, indulgence in sleep, work, and company, and also sense unguarded senses. What was the last one?
Immoderate in
Yes, immoderate in eating food. So those were the six things that Buddha taught why it is so difficult to meditate. It is very difficult to develop mindfulness. Actually, Buddha didn't say there that we should stop those and we should stop talking, stop working, but Buddha say not to indulge in those things, to make enjoyment, only to make enjoyment. But for the meditator who keeps meditating more often and carrying this meditation object consistently, can develop mindfulness, can develop peace of mind. Okay, today I'm going to share you a sutta that explains about the peace of mind. Because when we let go all these external stimulations through the senses, Buddha say that you can develop your mindfulness, you can develop your peace of mind. But for that, one need to restrain the senses. In our day-to-day life, our main enjoyment rely on these sense objects. I think this makes sense to you. Does this make sense? That our enjoyments, our stimulations are coming through the external sense objects, like by seeing and hearing and enjoying the object of the senses. Now, but for the meditator need to restrain the senses against all the sensual stimulations. Don't take this form. This is not This is something people misunderstand. Some people think it is about not enjoying the worldly pleasures. It is not to be like, is not to be confused that it is not something that we avoid the happiness of the senses, but it is restraining. Have you seen the lotus leaf? Have you seen the lotus leaf? Probably some of you have seen. Uh, if you can remember, the lotus leaf is a big, like rounded leaf that it's always on the water. It floats on the water, but the flower extends far away through the water, and the flower doesn't touch the water, but the leaf does. Sometimes some leaves just touch the water. And it is said that if you put water onto the leaf of the lotus, that the lotus leaf does not absorb the water droplets. You can test this. Or else you can see this. Sometimes I have found there are some polythenes that it doesn't absorb the water when we put. What happens, especially the clothes sometimes, what happens is that the water doesn't go in and it doesn't absorb, but instead the water droplet remains without touching the leaf when it comes to the lotus leaf. It doesn't touch. Touch means it doesn't smear. It doesn't mix with the lotus leaf, but it depends. It stays without touching it. When you rotate the leaf, it goes all over the leaf as still like the droplet. But if you turn it upside down, it will fall down. Still, there is no mark. There is no mark on the leaf that it was touched. It's still leaves like a freshness and dryness of the leaf. It doesn't touch. Now, Buddha say, the heart of the enlightened, heart of the arahants, the heart of the Buddhas are just the same way like a lotus leaf. Whatever they see, it doesn't absorb into the heart. Whatever hear, whatever smell, whatever taste, whatever touch, whatever the mental object does not absorb into the heart, but it remains detached. It goes in, it keeps inside, but it brings the feelings, but it doesn't absorb inside. When the time's right for the enlightened Bhantes to let go, they let go. It go because there's no something to attach. It just remains without attachment and it goes. I remember in the sutta about the Buddha's final days, Parinibbana Sutta, there is a place where Buddha turned his entire body to the city where Buddha lived. And Buddha said, I will never see this city again. So he turned his entire body to the Vishala, as I remember. So he said, this is the last time the enlightened Supreme Buddha see the city. And then he turned back and watched the city and then turned to the side where that he was heading to the Kushinagar, where Buddha passed away. Buddha doesn't have an attachment by thinking when I will come back. Buddha had the cottage made out of sandalwood that Buddha stays there. He said that the chamber has a roof with seven like levels, seven levels of roof. And it's already covered with sandalwood and people bring flowers and people always put fragrances. But Buddha didn't touch the sandalwood and take the fragrance and think, okay, this is where I'm living, I should attach to this. But when Buddha go to the alms round, he go without an expectation. So these things does not absorb. Kings come to the Buddha, like higher caste people come to the Buddha, wealthy people come to the Buddha, but his heart doesn't attach to the people or to the things they offer or to the food that he eat or to the place that the Buddha lived, even to the robe Buddha wear. That objects of the senses does not absorb into the heart of the Buddha or to the enlightened Bhantes, but it remains detached, and when the time's out, it goes away. That's the free heart. That's the free mind. That's the freedom. The Buddha's mind doesn't chase after the sights that he see, sounds that he hear. That's the freedom, even for the enlightened Bhantes. Their heart doesn't mix with the things that they interact with. If someone criticizes, it doesn't live there or make a problem there. There's no trace living there in the Buddha's heart. But Buddha say, for the ordinary person, that's not the case. What happens if you pour the oil to the sand? Have you tested this? Is something in the suttas. But they say, if someone pours oil to the sand, what happened to the oil? It sunk in, it goes inside, and it goes all the way down to the ground through the sand. It absorbs into the sand. But they say for the ordinary person, whatever seen, heard, smelled, tasted, or touched, they go deep inside the heart. And that it's a kind of attachment. It makes an attachment. Now, when Buddha say, when you develop mindfulness, your mindfulness brings you clarity and peace of mind. That mindfulness does not make or create an attachment to the object of the senses. Just imagine through your experience when I'm saying this, if we can have such a heart where that nothing stays in the mind, nothing stays in the heart, whatever we interacted doesn't stays in the heart, what would be the experience? The mind is like a lotus leaf. What do you think? If this makes sense, first of all, if this makes sense. For an example, let's say we saw a food, always we take the food. Okay, we saw a food. According to the teachings, Buddha say we take two defilements when we see the food. According to the other discussion, if you remember, what are the unprotected eye catches from the food?
Signs and features?
Signs and features, and what it brings us. If a person's eye is unrestrained, what it could bring us.
Covetousness and grief.
Yes, covetousness and grief. And that's what happens when we interact with the sensory world, whatever we experience, whatever we interact. Say it's a sight because it's easy to understand. I said that we see a food, and the food can bring, if we were not mindful, food can bring two defilements. Either it could be covetousness, or either it could be grief, worry, sadness. Why? why I cannot take that food. Or else the greed. Greed means the covetousness. Is one food, let's say, in the moment that we eat the food, is it enough for us to be happy in that present moment experience? Or do we need covetousness over and over again to enjoy that same food? What do you think? For the feeling?
Shouldn't make us happy at the time we're eating the food. We should be able to enjoy it.
Yes, exactly. We should be able to enjoy the food when the moment that we enjoy. But as we discussed, because of the covetousness and grief, we cannot be in the present moment that we are being attacked by the same food that we are eating because of this uncontrolled senses or the tongue or the ear. I remember one day in the commentaries there is a story that the elder monk said to the novice monk, "Don't burn your tongue when you eat the food. Don't burn your tongue." Actually, there it is said that it is not because that the food is too hot, but it was because that the Bhante, the elder Bhante, is saying that be alert, be mindful when you eat the food. Don't burn the tongue. Be alert means drop the covetousness, drop the grief while you're eating the food. Why? In the moment that person can enjoy the food there in that moment. Okay, back to that side thing. When we see the food through the eye, this covetousness or the grief can invade the mind. So that is the two things which brings attachment. Okay, the attachment could be the covetousness, or the attachment could be the grief. Does that make sense when we say the grief is an attachment? Can the grief would be an attachment? Grief, I mean sadness. Why do we get sad? Is it because of we are having an attachment there, or because of we detached? Why we have grief? Why we
Because of
worry?
the
Huh?
attachment. But
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when you're eating the food, it's not only the taste of the food, it's also the smell and your other senses that are constantly, giving you more and more ways to have that greed and
Yes.
grief.
Yeah, when we are not getting what we want through that experience, let's say we want something out of covetousness, out of greed, but when we don't get that, we worry about that. We become so grief, like sorrow about that experience. Still, that is the attachment. Why? Because we are trying to release, we are trying to free from attachment. We are expecting and relief through the being attached to the food. That's why there is grief. Now, Buddha said these two, greed and grief, covetousness and grief, are the problems that cause us during our our sensory experience, during whatever we enjoy. Now, there is a simile in the teachings. Buddha say, suppose there is a, let's say, bunch of wheat or the rice. Have you seen when people cut the wheat? They hold it from one hand, and when you cut it, there is this group of wheat leaves together with the seeds. And at that time, because they didn't have this much machines, what they did was that they keep those collected bunch of wheat on the ground together with its straws, like the leaves on the ground, and people come there with carrying a kind of a pole, kind of a big stick, and start to smash these this group of wheat. Why do they smash them? Because they need to separate the seed from the grass, from that wheat. Does that make sense? They start to beat, they start to smash by beating. Why? Because they need to separate these straws from the seed. When they do this for some time, they can remove these straws, these grasses, and then they can later collect the seeds. It could be wheat or it could be rice. In that simile, it says rice. Sometimes barley, because those are growing like in the fields. Now, there are six people carrying 6 poles, and start to beat this group of wheat. Start to beat from 6 sides, all the way from 6 sides to separate the seed from the grasses. Okay. Now the Buddha said the same way, the uninstructed worldling, the ordinary person that does not possess mindfulness enough, he said that person is being beaten by 6 poles, 6 sticks always. And what is being attacked is the senses. What are those 6 poles? Those are the sights, sound, smell, taste, touch. So these things, Buddha say, in a way, it attacks the heart. It attacks the mind. It continuously keep on happening through our senses. And how it happens, it is a simile, but how it happens, Buddha say, when an ordinary person without mindfulness, when see a sight, else they get greed, covetousness, or else they get grief. That's an attack. There is a sight, but we are going to experience the feeling of the sight, but it else brings us covetousness, or else brings us greed. Not greed, grief. Ear brings us covetousness or grief. The smells through the nose brings us covetousness or grief. Taste brings us covetousness or grief. Touch brings us covetousness or grief. And the sixth one is the mental object, brings us covetousness or grief. Again, Buddha say, there was a seventh man. He came with another big pole. And he started to smash with already separated seeds by the seventh one. Buddha say, in the analogy, it is like when someone think, I don't need these senses. I don't need these sense objects in this life. I will have a better senses in the next life, with the better and the higher sense objects in the next life. He say it is like that. Wanting to be reborn over and over again with the same senses and same sense objects. Why does he say that? Because he say one need to release from the senses. Release means not abandoning, but developing mindfulness and bringing into one object, one piece of mind. One need to release from that pain. One need to release from the senses through the mindfulness in order to touch the higher attainments, higher enjoyments. For that, one should not reborn over and over again. Why? But one can do that in here and now. When we start to develop mindfulness, we can attain that higher peace. But if one thinks, okay, I will take a brand new, different set of 6 senses. What happens in the next life too is that one start to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, again being attacked. Again, either there will be covetousness or else there will be grief. Okay. So these two according to the Buddha, is causing us a distracted mind. So we need to stop that distraction by developing mindfulness. So the mindfulness is the most important thing to set free our mind from these distractions. Now, what can we do in as a practice that, let's say that there is something that we have covetousness? What can we do about it? Let's say there is grief about something, we worry about something. Let's say I saw a beautiful car, so I like the car, let's say that's a side for me. Now, it could be a kind of a moment that I saw it, but later it could come to the heart, it could come to the mind as a past memory, and it can increase the greed, covetousness. And it can bring the covetousness, and later it could bring me worry why I didn't have that. What can we do for this? As a relief?
Well, if you're eating, first of all, you're getting stimulated by the senses, but that's
Yes.
not the purpose of eating.
Yes.
So you have to eat properly, be aware, and reflect on the purpose of the food.
Very good. Yes,
So,
we learned that. Yes.
yeah, so we talked about it, you don't get intoxicated and that
Yes.
you're not gaining benefits. The only benefit is you're eating to nourish your body and not
Yeah.
to have all kinds of excitement and joy.
Yes.
And if you reflect on that, you should be
Yes.
able to get rid of the greed and grief.
Yes, very good. I really liked your answer because you gave the exact teaching that I gave last
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
And that makes me happy because I know that people understand. So I can take you through a kind of a discussion through through this discussion. Okay, very good. Now, yeah, by knowing the purpose of the food that we take, we can bring mind kind of a peaceful state. And that's very good when we know that. It's very good that when we contemplate on that. That's in the case of the food. But how about the car? What to do when there is greed for the car? Buddha say, in an ultimate way of understanding the sense objects is by understanding its impermanence. If we know that it is impermanent, that removes the greed, covetousness. That removes the grief. Why do I want to be sad for something that is changing? Why do I want to be so much stressed for something that is changing? Why do I want to take covetousness? Something is changing. As long as we know that we don't need that, because sometimes people confuse these two, covetousness, greed, with their motivation. Let's say someone has an inspiration in them that I need to attain this goal. One day from 5 years, I will take a Ferrari. It could be a motivation in life, right? But this is not what we talk here. It is actually that this distress, this pain, sometimes it brings us. Even though we know that we need this, but sometimes we become restless when we are not achieving the goal enough. We become restless. I mean, let's say I don't need something else, but I will need the Ferrari, let's say. But sometimes when I see something different, oh, that's not the best vehicle, but this would be the best vehicle. Now, what happened to the goal? It was shift from the Ferrari to the BMW or something. So this focus need to be developed by abandoning covetousness. mindfulness approach to attaining the goals is really good because it empowers us. It brings huge force to attain our goal. But sometimes we see that our goals change from the things that we experience, from the things that we see. We go and latch into a different goal later. I started with one goal, but maybe I will do something different because of my desires, because of the covetousness. Okay. Now this means we need to avoid the covetousness. We need to avoid the grief if we need to protect the senses. When there is a time that we see the beautiful things through the senses, we need to make up our mind that this is something I'm craving for, but that is impermanent. That I cannot take that according to my control. It changes, even though that reached to me, but it changes. It has some time. At least we can get some mindfulness with this thinking. This is why our senses are not guarded, our mind is not peaceful, because we are being attacked by all these things. We do nothing. We don't do anything. We don't think anything. It just keep open the doors. But if we need to restrain our senses, we need always to contemplate. Now, have you seen this squirrel? Squirrel with the big tail? The enlightened Bhante Nagasena said to the King Milinda, what can you take from a squirrel if you are a practitioner? What can you take from a squirrel? And the enlightened Bhante say, a squirrel, when it gets angry, it puff off the tail and attack the enemies. And the enlightened Bhante say, you look at the squirrel and you take this special quality and you assume this to know about your life. Whenever the enemies of covetousness and greed invade you, you puff off the mindfulness. You let go of all these distractions by developing mindfulness to avoid this greed and grief. Again, there is another, I don't remember that, I'm sorry. Yeah. There's again another simile like that. It said that one should not abandon. Oh, okay, I remember. The rooster. The rooster, it's said to be that rooster has a place where that it lives after going to the woods, collect some food and beans or grains, and go back to the dwelling place. It's said that the rooster has its dwelling place with some collected leaves, dried leaves, and lay the eggs there and stay there. Rooster doesn't lay the eggs. Rooster stays there. It's dwelling place. It's said that people sometimes throw pebbles, sticks, and the stones at the rooster, but it runs all over the place, but again come back to the dwelling place, that grass, that dried leaves. Again, sometimes kids or the people throw the pebbles, and then rooster ran here and there. And later, when the people move away, slowly, rooster come back to the place it stays, the dwelling place. The rooster never abandoned its dwelling place. Whatever happened to it, it will always return to that dried leaves. This enlightened Bhante say the same way. Whatever happened in your external world with the sense objects, you don't abandon. You don't abandon your mindfulness, the object of your mindfulness. You never abandon that. You return back to your mindfulness, whatever happens. Probably we realize later on in our life that, oh, all these days I was so much mixed with grief. I was in so much covetousness because of taking this or that. I was chasing after those things. As soon as you realize, you return to your mindfulness. You establish your mindfulness again to yourself. Then that's how one let go of the greed and grief. Okay? Constantly developing something. One more simile. There is another simile about a crow. This enlightened Bhante say, the king asks, what can you take out from a crow? You know the crow, the black crow? The crow is landing on the trees, on the branches. He said that the crow is always in danger by thinking, when are we going to be attacked? When are we going to be attacked? It's always looking here, looking there. A sudden change, a sudden noise hears, it looks sudden quickly. What's going to be happen? What is going to be attacked? So the crow is always in kind of alert. Same way the enlightened Bhante say, you can take the crow's this quality to develop meditations that you need always to be alert. When something gonna happen to my peace of mind? When are we gonna attacked by my peace of mind? To my peace of mind? What kind of a sight, what kind of a sound could cause distraction to my peace of mind? When one lives like that, then one can develop more peace of mind, more clarity, because that person is aware about what changes take place in them. If we close our eyes, if we are going to meditate on breathing, definitely we will have else covetousness or else grief. Please check your mind in those moments when you meditate, when your mind is not on the breath. Please check what I am having. Then you will definitely find out. Else there can be thoughts on greed, or else there can be thought on grief. Do you remember how the Satipatthana Sutta started? Atapi sampajano satima vinayaloki abhijja domanassa. Atapi, what is atapi?
Ardent.
Ardent. Sampajano atapi sampajano.
Clear comprehension.
Atapi sampajano satima. What is satima?
Mindfulness.
Ardent, clearly comprehended
I'm mindful.
with mindfulness. Atapi sampajano satima. This is the phrase I want to ask. Vinaya. What is Vinaya in Pali? We have Pali learners here in our group.
Removing one thing.
Yeah. Vinaya means removing. Atapi sampajano satima. Ardent, fully aware, mindful, removing. Atapi sampajano satima. Vinaya loke. Abhijja domanas. What is loke? What is loka? Someone else?
World.
World. Yes, world. Loke. Abhijja domanasam. What is abhijja?
Delusion?
Covetousness.
Covetousness. Oh, yeah.
Greed. Covetousness. Abhijja. What is domanas? Grief.
Great.
Grief. Sorrow. Sadness. Now let's put all together. Atapi sampajano satima vinay loki abhijja domanasam. Ardent means energy. Ardent, fully aware, mindful, removing for the world, covetousness and grief. ආතාපි සම්පජානෝ සතිමා විනේය ලෝකේ අබෙජ්ජා දෝමනසා කායේ කායානුපස්සී විහෙරති. Contemplate body in body. Then what do you need to contemplate body in body? You need energy, you need full awareness, you need mindfulness, you need to put away two things, greed and grief. And that's how you start your breathing meditation. What happens if we indulge in work? Can we abandon covetousness and grief? What happens if we indulge and delight in speak? Can we abandon covetousness and grief? When we indulge in sleep, there is a man or a woman or a monk or a nun sleeping, always sleep. Whenever we go, sleeping, he's sleeping. Can we abandon covetousness and grief? No. How about if we don't restrain our senses, can we abandon covetousness and grief? No, the unrestraint of the senses is what? Is the source for bringing covetousness and grief. That's the source. And how about the not moderate in eating food? It can bring covetousness or greed. That's why this enlightened Bhante say, the food can make you happy, but it cannot make your mind peaceful. Food can bring you enjoyment, but it cannot bring you peace of mind. Why? The food can bring greed, covetousness, or grief. So we need to put away, when we start our meditation, immediately look at your mind and find out whether I'm having covetousness, greed, or whether I'm having grief. In this moment, do I carry any greed for something? Before you start, think before you start, am I carrying some kind of a worry or grief that I couldn't take something? Then put away that, remove that. Then start your meditation. Definitely it works. If that grief doesn't go away, you can think, oh, I'm having greed for this food, but that food is changing. That food is impermanent. Then your mind will detach from that food, and then you can do a peaceful meditation afterward. Yeah, so abandoning that too. And then if you go to the deep concentration, if your mind is 100% occupied by the breath, you don't have greed or grief. Your mind is only focused to the breath. You can easily manage those two negative feelings more easily because of your gaining of the mindfulness. Okay? Okay, friends. So this is the discussion for today. If you have hard time to understand this teaching, please chant or read the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Then every information we studied here will fit into that sutta. We talk nothing but the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta and the lack of restraint over the senses. Okay, as we go, we will study more. And thank you so much for joining. And by the power of the merit that we collected by studying the Buddha's teachings, may we have the great opportunity to attain the perfect bliss of our mind. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So this person with the Ferrari.
I'm with you. Yeah, go on.
So before he becomes aware of impermanence and aware, being aware, etc. So he has the Ferrari, and now he's understands impermanence. So
Yes,
every time he sees another Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something he understands then. So that's the way the person would train themselves
yes,
by bringing up impermanence, that
yes,
he doesn't need anything more because everything is impermanent.
yes.
So that's possible then.
Um, Impermanence understanding is a deeper one.
Okay.
Okay, it's a deeper understanding, but opening more and more capabilities,
Hmm.
more and more authority,
Hmm.
not sadness,
Yeah.
not sadness at all, because we don't need to meditate or to understand impermanence to be sad,
Hmm.
but it's a deeper understanding that they carry always, but it's freeing and it's liberating and it's bringing more authority. So in the same time, there is this Ferrari. So
Hmm.
this person knows that when that person gets more and more greed, more and more covetousness to the others' Ferraris, one knows those things impermanent.
Yeah.
What happens is actually that person can content with the Ferrari that he's already have, but he's happy with getting another Ferrari. He can go for that.
Hmm.
But still, whatever he take, he can be content. But after all, if something happen, like accident happens, or it is crashed, so this person get more and more release
Yeah.
by knowing, oh, this is something happens to whatever in the world.
Sure.
Like this can change.
Hmm.
But that doesn't block your motivation, but it bringing more mindfulness, less sorrow. Um, yeah, how to explain? I think this makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
By,
And accepting things as they are.
by direct experience? Is that what you're
Yes,
trying
Manfred. Yeah,
to explain?
it's from the direct experience that
Mhm.
person sees the reality. But these two clashing so much, and people are really difficult in understanding these two difference. What is the motivation and what is the impermanence? Because impermanence, mostly for the people, it caused the death. It
Yeah.
caused the some um, annihilation, like termination of something.
Yeah.
But that's because of how people were learned, people were taught. But no, but this is go much more deeper. Like how I explained, I remember that I gave the Buddha's teaching. Arising is discerned, vanishing is discerned, in between change is discerned.
Okay.
And that brings freedom,
Yeah.
that understanding. That's what we call in English actually impermanence.
Yeah.
But impermanence not to be limited, but it is
Right.
something releasing you, like bringing you relief from
Liberating. It's
hard
liberating.
times.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
liberating.
liberation. That's exactly, yeah, liberation. So, but when you liberate, in the meantime, you can work on to your happiness. You can practice generosity. You can practice giving and sharing because you truly know that's impermanent.
Hmm.
What if I can give before something is becoming permanent? What if I can give that to another person
Hmm.
in its best time? Because other people are happy by having something to them.
Hmm.
We cannot say that that person who is receiving know about impermanence, and we don't even need to tell that
Hmm.
because in the first place that person enjoy that when they receive it.
Hmm.
But because of the giving, it brings more happiness.
Yeah.
I remember there is a story. There was enlightened Bhante. the Bhante's servant, when the Bhante is out, because the Bhante said some fault in the servant to correct that, the servant got so much angry. When the Bhante was not there, servant burnt the house, the room, when he was not there. So it's burning now when the Bhante come back. And then this servant went to the person who built the room and said, the room of the Bhante is burning. And he said that the man who made that was really happy. He clapped and he said, "Oh, that's great, because I can make another beautiful room." And the second day also, after some time, it said that he burnt again. And again, this man who built that clapped and said, "Oh, I'm really happy. I can make a big one." So this, it said that the servant couldn't teach the wealthy man or the monk a lesson, because whatever happens, they are very happy. Yeah. So the things change. Things change. Fire can burn things, flood can carry away things, thieves can take, government can take everything. But if you know this impermanence, you can live more happier life inside.
Definitely.
Yeah.